Welcome to Lacrosse Classified, your go-to source for all things NLL and box lacrosse. We will bring you the biggest names and best storylines in the world every single week. So settle down and listen up. It's time for Lax Class.
Lacrosse fans, welcome back to Lacrosse Classified. Lax Class 357 is now underway here on the Lacrosse Culture Daily Podcast Network. It is Jake Elliott. It is Lucas Arger back with you here for another big program as the summer is officially over. We're officially into fall, and that means a format change here on the program as we go back to 4 quarters of action here on Lax Class, and we hop into our NLL season previews as we will speak with the general manager or a head coach, in some cases both, maybe an owner or two mixed in there as well. We're going to go down each and every team here, all 14 over the next 7 weeks. Then we will have hopefully a chat with the commissioner, Brett Frood, as we often like to do prior to the season beginning. We will maybe the same program, maybe we'll space it out. We'll see how the timing works out to talk with either Zach Currier or Reed Reinhold from the National Lacrosse League Players Association. Always important to hear from both sides. Now, hopefully by the time that we get to that point, which we're talking 6-7 weeks down the road from now, we have a collective bargaining agreement, and it's a positive conversation with those two parties. But if it's not, then it'll be good timing to maybe have some harder discussions with the commissioner and the president of the Players Association. Let's hope that we have some sort of collective bargaining agreement by then, as we are we're like 2 months away from the opening face-off weekend. Just over 2 months away. So still time, not a lot of time, but it's time. We're going ahead here. Like the season will begin on time. There's no other way to do this, and I want to make sure we get everybody in. So long-winded to tell you who's coming on the program this week, but in quarter number 2, Chugger. Steve Dietrich of the Buffalo Bandits, general manager, defensive coordinator, Hall of Famer. Steve Dietrich, apparently he's a big Chiefs fan too. We gotta talk to Chugger about this as well. Steve Dietrich coming up in quarter number 2. One of our favorites, one of my favorites for sure. Owner, general manager of the Georgia Swarm, John Arlotta, will join us in quarter number 3. Does not have a lot of conversations with a lot of people on a lot of podcasts, Lucas. He makes time to come here on Lax Class. We appreciate his time. John Arlotta will look forward to this conversation in quarter number 3. Final quarter 4, Lax Class Lock of the Week, brought to you by Coolbet, which I learned just this week that it is one word, Coolbet. It's not 2, which I thought for a long time, but apparently I'm wrong on that. It's all corrected. Coolbet, one word, Lax Class Lock of the Week coming up in quarter number 4. Big focus. And we got a goalie of the week this week as well with LAXNAI going on over there in upstate New York, I want to say. I'm not sure where that was, actually. Maybe you can tell me. Lucas, I'll welcome you to the podcast. Lots coming up here on the program. How are you? What's new? Fill me in.
Doing good, man. Yeah, had a pretty relaxing weekend. Called some junior hockey games over the weekend.
I saw that. Collingwood, right? Up there in Collingwood, yeah.
Yeah, back up in Collingwood.
Hockey.
Yeah, it was
that
fun.
Was that your first hockey game you've ever done?
For junior A, yeah. My very first hockey game that I ever called, though. Don't like to toot my own horn too often, Jake, but the very first hockey game I called was my very first year of college, the London Knights of the Ontario Hockey League. That was pretty cool. I got to do that with Fanshot TV, and that was a pretty cool experience. That was only a one-time thing, just an opportunity that presented itself. Got called in with my college's production team, and they gave me the headset for the day, had a color analyst, and I did some OHL hockey. Nice. But no, this past weekend, back up in Collingwood, Eddie Bush Arena. More fans at a Blues game than a Cruise game, I'll say that, for Senior B lacrosse. So there's definitely some more fans out there, chuck a puck. I almost won it. My first time, I almost won it.
The check a puck.
I was trying to get in on the
is
frisbee
that
toss.
Okay, that's the equivalent to the frisbee toss in lacrosse. Is the chuck a puck.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, the chuck a puck. I tried to do it from the booth, ended up sliding closer to the benches than it did to center ice. Something that
sounds way more dangerous. Like the potential for severe and crippling injuries. Are these like real pucks, or are we talking phone?
No, we're talking a real puck.
People are just launching frozen rubber pucks out onto the ice from the stands in all directions.
You can either do it from the stands, or they bring like the little ones and the toddlers with their parents to the benches. But no,
that
you
sounds
had pucks
like a
flying
disaster
off from,
waiting to happen. Rethink that promotion, Collingwood. I've never heard of that chuck up. I could see if it was foam or like, soft rubber pucks. If they're chucking actual pucks, something bad's going to happen there. Stop doing that immediately.
Well, usually people are sitting or they're standing up high when they're throwing them, so they hope that it doesn't slip, but yeah, it is what it is. No, it was a great game. Weekend was then good. Had to work on some stuff in my cottage. And then Sunday, what did I do Sunday? Watched a lot of football, hung out with some friends, and then last night I had some refereeing lacrosse.
What did we do? We went down south of the border. Went down into Bellingham on Saturday, did a little shopping, Trader Joe's, the usual circuit, got there to Costco. Also opened up an American bank account, which I'm pretty excited about. I've had some issues kind of with some transfers and, just the cross-border. I've had some issues there, Lucas, so I decided just to skip across the line, open up a bank account in the USA. So I think the next step is like I get to vote next year. I'm pretty sure is how that works. Went to the dentist on Monday. Me and the dentist do not get along very well, Lucas. I'm just going to be honest with you right there. Like I'm not afraid of many things in life. The dentist ranks up there number one. And I don't know, like I think it's probably some trauma from my childhood with my old Dr. Chapman. But man, I just get panic stricken, like more like uncontrollable sweating. Like I've broken dental chairs from gripping the handles too tight from time to time. There's just the anticipation of nerve pain. Just talking about it gives me the heebie-jeebies, man. I can't do it, but got that out of the way, thankfully. What else? Hit the hill this morning, hit the gym on Monday as well. So now I can't really move my upper body and I can't really move my lower body. So I think Wednesday is probably going to be an off day after some physical exertion over the last couple days as well. I think that is a pretty solid recap of the last several days in the lives of me and you, Lucas. I think it's probably time to start the program and talk some lacrosse, as a lot of people may have already checked out by now. Who knows? Screw them. It's time for the big focus.
Big focus. Big focus. Focus. Other than a big focus. Focus. Big focus.
Big focus. Big focus. The big focus. You want to give me a little big focus, Lucas? I don't think I've asked you to do that before. Give me a little big focus.
Big focus. Focus, big focus, big focus, big focus.
There. That's what I'm talking about right there. Okay, good stuff. Big focus is, of course, the National Lacrosse League schedule has officially dropped. Again, no CBA, but if everything stays on track here and things get underway, training camp, all the rest of it, November the 28th, the earliest start in National Lacrosse League history since 2001, I think I saw. I can't remember who put that out there, but I saw somebody put that out there. Can't remember who put that out there. Oshawa and Toronto. Toronto going to Oshawa. Speaking of Oshawa, they named their play-by-play and color commentator as Dan Malta. And familiar name, Scott Arnold, who's caught a lot of Peterborough Lakers games. He fills in for Greggy as well when he's off with TSN for Halifax. Scott Arnold and Dan Malta going to be the broadcast team for the new Oshawa Firewolves. Do you know these guys? Well, do you know Dan? I don't know Dan, but I'm looking forward to hearing Dan.
I don't know them personally. I've heard of them. I've listened to them in games before, hockey, lacrosse, others that may be, but I don't know them personally. But I do know that they are both from Peterborough or Oshawa or somewhere in the Durham region, just north of it, and they're very much immersed in sports around here. So looking forward to meeting them and listening to them for some Firewolves games.
There you go. Banner raising night for the Buffalo Bandits a night later as they will take on the Georgia Swarm. And we'll have a chance to talk to both our guests about week number 1. They're going to play each other. Maybe we'll get a little trash talk going. Who knows? Vancouver also opening up at home on opening weekend as well, face-off weekend. The first look at the Seneca-owned Rochester Nighthawks will be December the 20th. And what else can we tell you? Saskatchewan and Halifax are going to do it twice again this year. Look forward to that matchup as always. Anything jump out at you for the schedule in particular, Lucas?
Yeah, I saw this courtesy of LAXNAI. This is the first time, I think, since 2000 or 01, 02, something like that, Jake. Toronto's not going to Banditland.
No Toronto in Buffalo.
No, they play each other one time. I think it's February 28th. I'll double check that. But it's one time, and it's in Toronto. Well, Hamilton, technically, now that the Rock are moving back there. But one matchup, not even two, and Toronto will not be going to Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of sucks, right? But that's the kind of the trade-off that you have to have if you want to have unified standings and you want to have kind of schedule balance where everybody at least comes through your arena at least once every 2 years and you go into their arena at least once every 2 years. Sometimes you're going to play each other twice in the same year, but sometimes you will not. And there's something to be said about rivalries in the National Lacrosse League and in sports in general, but you know, Saskatchewan and Calgary, Buffalo, Toronto, Buffalo, Rochester, there's some heated rivalries across the league, and sometimes with this unified standings and the way it works, you miss out on a little bit. Like, I don't know if there's a way that you can have like some sort of clause in there where certain teams just need to play each other twice a year, no matter what. But I don't know how you do that. But it sucks if you only get Toronto, Buffalo once this year.
Yeah, it does. And I'm not taking away from all the other matchups that those two franchises have, but what people have become accustomed to is those rivalries. So when you see that Toronto Buffalo only happens once, but then you see Toronto Colorado twice in back-to-back weeks, people might be looking at that going, screw that, I want Rock Bandits twice. But it is what it is. I bet you're looking forward to week 1 as Warriors are hosting the Mammoth. That should be a good one. Didn't they play each other in week 1 last year?
Yeah, I believe they did. If my memory serves, I think you may be right on that, Lucas. And it's just like I just feel like I think Vancouver was in Colorado to start the year last year, and now they'll get Colorado at home. But you know, there's two teams that don't like each other very much, and that has been confirmed by Dylan Ward, who did the schedule release for the Colorado Mammoth. And aside from going back to Toronto because he's got friends and family there that he gets to play in front of, doesn't sound like Dylan Ward likes too many other cities around the National Lacrosse League, doesn't like too many other teams or even people around the league. Just, yeah, we don't like them very much. I don't like going there very much. Dylan Ward, I thought a great schedule release, but I think he gave Vancouver a great city, but that was about it.
That's positive. What's the what week do you go to Vegas for the first time?
Oh, there's a good question. I want to say December the... Oh, did I just give you a fucking good question? I did. Lucas, you didn't even notice that. I probably just could have skated right by that and you wouldn't even have... December the 20th, Las Vegas will take on the Black Bears as the Black Bears and Firewolves will play, which means Oshawa against Ottawa. Good luck calling that matchup. That is going to be really difficult for the announcers. Del Bianco makes his return to Calgary on the 9th of January. Classic matchup, like you were talking about. Bandits Rock is on the 28th. The championship rematch comes up on February the 27th. And they play twice again, so at least you get that. You almost get like another mini finals again, as you got to wait a month in between games. But Buffalo and Saskatchewan are going to play twice. Desert Dogs and Seals, I think they play twice as well. And there's a rivalry, right? I mean, that's the Joe Cy Bowl. You got to have the Dogs and the Seals play twice every year, no matter what.
We got to wait till the end of the season, though.
It's okay. It's okay. Nice job from one Anna Taylor cranking out kind of some of the key dates of the National Lacrosse League season, and I just stole it all from. Well, I guess I didn't because I just gave Anna credit, so it counts. It counts. November the 28th, and like I said, it is the 23rd, 24th of September. It's like 2 months, man. Training camp is supposed to start early October, and I wonder. They're not doing training camp without a CBA. And I wonder, like, I don't think the boys collect a paycheck for exhibition games. So is that in the thought process of, well, maybe we'll just stretch it out right until when the season is supposed to begin? I think if you do that, you're running the risk of a lot of bad things happening, and in particular, a lot of injuries. Like, say what you want about, doing the work away from the floor until you're in there getting banged around and cutting and diving and dipping and dodging. There's no other shape like game shape. And if you're just going to step in to week number 1 with no training camp behind you, I think that is crazy to even think about entertaining, which means, I don't know, do you lose a game off the regular season so you can have a week of training camp and then suddenly you're down to a 16-game schedule? I don't know. I just don't know if they're using that as a tactic. Like, hey, we don't get paid to go to training camp. Why go to training camp?
Not a bad bargaining chip. The players do have leverage on that front. I don't know. For some reason, I think that some of them just want to play, that they're not even going to worry about it. But at the same time, I know they want to get this deal done.
They're not showing up. They may be having informal kind of, 8-10 guys out there running around trying to stay sharp, but they're not. There's no fitness testing. There's no scheduled exhibition games with referees and scorekeepers, and which is another thing. The officials, they need a little tune-up too as well. And, for the guys that just played in the Mann Cup, or even are going to play in the Sixes event or whatever, or even LAXNAI, they can probably use another month off. But for guys that, their last game was at the end of last year's NLL season, or you didn't make the PLL playoffs or whatever, that's a long time off to all of a sudden get yourself right and ready to go again. I don't know. Maybe one of our guests might have a little more insight of where things are at. We'll try and pry a little bit of that coming up. But big focus, NLL schedule. You can see it all at NLL.com. Don't forget to go to lacrosseculturedaily.com as well, as they're cranking out the content. All NLL season as well. Not done here in quarter 1. Going to the factory this week, Lucas, and we do, in fact, have a Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week.
Big save, Chiliano. Rebound call, Crime Stoppers.
Vince just scored a goalie goal.
Jameson somehow comes up with the stop. Larceny.
And here's Shane Jackson off the bench. And there's Christian Del Bianco with a stick side save.
Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week. And like I mentioned, LAXNAI, the North American Invitational. Do you know where this was played, Lucas? Was it sometimes they play in Onondaga, but I don't think it was there this year. I'm not exactly sure where the tournament was this year. Do you know?
Pretty sure I saw videos and pictures that it was in Utica.
Okay. Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. Utica. There you go. Well, Goalie Factory's not in Utica, but if you're from Utica and you want to get better at playing the sport of goal, or not the sport of goal, the position of goal in the sport of lacrosse, you can do that through the Goalie Factory and their online Zoom coaching. Or if you're local to the Lower Mainland or in the surrounding area, you can visit them out there in Langley. Dedicated to developing the next generation of lacrosse goalies in the Lower Mainland. Head coach Riley Brown, assistants Caleb and Marcus head coach Curtis Armstrong, and the content cowgirl herself, Daniela Carey, over there at the Goalie Factory. At Goalie Factory _ is where you want to go. All their information, their sign-up forms, they got it all over there at Goalie Factory _ Just hit their bio. And I got to pull this up here, Lucas. Speaking of goalies, heard Deacon Knott is not in a good position, as I heard maybe some knee trouble for Deacon picked up at Lacrosse North American Invitational, which puts the Philadelphia Wings in a bit of a pickle. Of course, they still got the President's Cup champion Nick Damude, but did I tell you, by the way, that I found out the mystery of the cup, the President's Cup?
No, I don't think you told me this story.
So this cup got dropped off. You saw the cup. Had no idea who dropped the cup off. Had my Instagram handle, blow the whistle, let's play lacrosse. Who gave me the cup? Nobody could tell me who the cup came from. I found out who the cup came from. Debbie Damude dropped that cup off for me. So anyways, shout out to Debbie, and thank you for that. But Nick Damude going to be the number one there in Philly, but now they're searching for a number two. The Georgia Swarm are not searching for a number one or number two, I don't think. We'll talk to John about that. But apparently Brett Dobson had himself a pretty good week there at LAXNAI. And another kid that I don't know how to say his name, so I don't want to butcher it. I believe it's Caius John, Caias. I'm going to go with Caius. Caius John, maybe related to Ron John, Seneca Nation. But just talking with my boys back there on Snake Island, they said I said, who are the best goaltenders at LAXNAI? And those were the two names that they came up with. You ever heard of Caius John?
No, I haven't, but that sounds like a badass name.
Yeah. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize, but just wanted to give him a little bit of shine as this week's Goalie Factory Goalie of the Week. And who knows, maybe we'll just search for some other goalies here for the next month or so until hopefully the National Lacrosse League. I want to be able to stop saying hopefully. Like, I just feel like I always have to preface that, and I'm sick of doing it. Season preview. Yes, it is. Season previews are coming up next. We're moving to quarter number 2, and we're going to talk to the 3-time NLL general manager of the Buffalo Bandits, Steve Dietrich, will join us next. Stay classified.
This is Ryan Smith, and you're listening to Lax Class.
Welcome back to Lax Class into period number 2. Nope, there's the first screw up of the new season, Lucas. Quarter number 2, and that's the second screw up because I meant to make the big focus by Rycor Construction. I forgot to do that. Format change here this week, and mine's not firing on all cylinders. So we'll do it now. Rycor Construction, making it stand out. 20 plus years of experience in the construction industry, serving the Lower Mainland. www.rycorconstruction.ca. Family owned and operated. Quality craftsmanship, exceptional client experience. They love lacrosse as well. Joshy Mills back to Mercyhurst there for another season. With those guys, they're still cranking it out here. Construction on the daily at Rycor Construction, making it stand out. I'll segue into this here. This guy's been standing out the past 3 years in the National Lacrosse League. Not only as the general manager, but defensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bandits, and one of our favorites here on the podcast. Welcome back to Lax Class, Chugger. How are things?
Good, fellas. I appreciate you having me on. Like I told you, Jumbo, I don't know what we're going to talk about because I don't know who's going to be on the Buffalo Bandits or when we're going to start, but I'll answer any questions that you guys may have with what my potential team might possibly look like in a perfect world.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I want to ask you how the health's doing, because I know you had a little bit of a thing there last year where you had to take some time away from the bench and a little neck issue. How are you feeling these days?
Yeah, real good. Like, it was a posterior laminectomy, I guess you could say. So they cut from C4 to T1. They cut a bunch of my discs away, or the lamina away, and put a couple rods and screws in my neck. So things are coming along. It's a nuisance every day. I feel like I have a headache or a kink in my shoulder, but for about 6 months I was in constant agony. So I'll gladly take the trade. I joked with JT that everybody thought that he carried the Bandits for our tenure together as a player, but obviously with my neck injury, I was carrying the Bandits, but that didn't go over. That didn't go over very well.
Ivan, I don't know what the reason has been, but every old school MILL highlight that comes across my feed on Facebook these days is somebody pumping one past you in one shape, form, or another.
Yeah, and I'd like to say that's Dallas putting that out there, because I don't think you'll ever see somebody pumping one past Dallas in the videos that he puts out. But
you mean the greatest goaltender ever?
I will say this: when we played Dallas, Dallas was amazing. Like, there were nights where I swear to God, you could have been shooting a golf ball and you just wouldn't have put it past him. But Dallas was real good. But it's just funny when he puts things on his. I don't even know if it's Insta story or, I'm not a social media guy, whatever it is. When he puts stuff out there, it's never where Dallas is having a bad night, or never when Dallas gets made to look stupid. But that's okay. But back in those days, man, there was really not a lot of defense, and some of the greatest players that that generation
pads either. The tight wrapped on the lower legs, and
I know Dane always laughs at me when he sees stuff like that. He's like, "Dude, you look like you have hockey shin pads on." And I'm like, "Well, after I got done taping them, that's basically what it was. Yeah, hockey shin pads on."
Speaking of JT and Dane, Chugger, congratulations to you and your Chiefs, who I know you were quite proud of winning another Mann Cup.
Well, I was happy for the Chiefs because of the bandit people that were there, but.
You just didn't want to see the Soviet Red Army finally break the streak, hey? Is that
no? I didn't want to see the WLA All-Star team beat Six Nations, but at the end of the day, it was a great Mann Cup, man. It was a great Mann Cup. My hat's off to Ray Porcelato and Bish and those guys. They did a phenomenal job putting that team together. And it was a great Mann Cup. I watched all 7 games, and other than the questionable commentators, sometimes it was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch. It was great.
Listen, I got a bit of a tongue lashing from an unnamed person, I'm just going to say, for being a little too pro Chiefs on the broadcast. Got some feedback saying I was too pro Chiefs for this Western bias man over here.
I don't know who would say that, because I think when you guys talked about Will Malcolm not playing for New West, I don't even know why we decided to play the game. But then you look at Six Nations, and there's Dawson Theed and Josh Byrne and Randy Stats weren't playing. That's a pretty good trade-off.
Oh, but they only have Shane Jackson and Ian McKay and Larson Sundown just to kind of slip in there if one of those guys gets hurt.
But it's because Dewey's a genius. Dewey's built an amazing team there.
Built. Yes. It's a B word, all right. I just don't know if built is the word that you're looking for. Let's move on to the National Lacrosse League and your Buffalo Bandits here, Steve Dietrich. And I'm just scrolling down here. First pick came at number 14, and you're gonna have to help me out here. I can say Shognosh. I'm not sure I can say the kid's first name yet, but looky here, look, Waukegan. Okay, you go out and you get a goaltender. Go figure for your first round pick this year.
Yeah, Jumbo, you and I talked a little bit before the draft. There was 2 guys we were deciding on, and we would have been happy with either one of them. Obviously, East made a little more sense to us than West when they were both sitting there. Sean Williams did a great job getting Caleb Kahn where he did. I think, like I've told you, I think Rob Buchan has been talking about Caleb Kahn since he was probably 9 years old. But
I don't see a Bucky pick this year, by the way. All Eastern, it looks like, for the Bandits this year.
He wasn't happy too. He was in the video Zoom chat we had going on, and every pick he's naming 5 Western guys that we should take, and we didn't do it. And it's not because we decided to go in a different direction because of West versus East. The goalie was, but the rest of the players just fell into place for us. But you and I've talked. Bucky does a tremendous job for us. And honestly, Kahn, Shognosh, Kahn, from what I've watched for both of those guys, they're both going to be phenomenal goaltenders.
What do you like about them? Different types of goaltenders, though, right, Steve? I would say, like Shognosh, I think a little bit bigger and a little more of an angles guy, where Kahn a little smaller and reactionary guy. But what did you like about Shognosh's game?
Yeah, you mentioned it, size. He plays his angles incredibly well. He's always square to the ball. He's athletic when he needs to be athletic. Like, he can move his feet real well. He does have a pretty good outlet pass, which is only going to get easier with the stick. going into a plastic stick, and he's 18 years old. So we just think that the upside for both of those guys, and you're right, Caleb was a lot different, but both being 18 years old, we just thought the upside was tremendously high. We already have, I think, a good up-and-coming goaltender in Evan Konstantopoulos, who had a great summer for Orangeville, and we still have Orly, who we believe in. And I know you're going to ask me about the other guy that I won't mention right now, because I know you're going to bring him up here shortly. We think those 3 guys are going to be okay.
He's got what, Steve? At least 3 more in him.
Sure, I tell him that every time I talk to him. He's got 3
I know.
5. Yeah.
I'm talking like comfortably. Like I just don't see a drop off. Like I don't see the end of the cliff coming for at least 3 years.
No, you know what? And next to JT, because I thought JT could have continued to play, but injuries got him at the end of his career. Matt hasn't had that. He hasn't had the injuries. So could Matt keep playing physically? Yes, 100%. He could probably play another 2 or 3 years. And you look at last year's championship game. The championship game 3. He shut the door on Saskatchewan in game 3 in the second half. Like he could still play at, I'm going to say, the highest level, like the best in the game
he's
level.
Winning championships. Like it's not like he's just he's a starter on a team that's not making the playoffs here. He's winning the championship year after year after year.
Yeah, and you're saying all the stuff that I say to him. So it's basically, I hope he listens to this podcast and he's like, okay, well, maybe Chugger's not the only one that says this to me, but it's what actually people believe. But I think he can still do it, Jumbo, and it's not going to be whether he can or he can't. It's going to be, what does he want to, right? Like, do you want to continue both mentally and physically? Because goaltender's a tough position in the fact that you start to brace how you played on whether the team did, and you put so much pressure on yourself. I was never at that level, but I understand where he's coming from, because after a game, if I had played well and we lost, you're still pissed off. And he's at the point where he's comparing himself or being compared to Matt Vince, right? So every game he's only being compared to Matt Vince. So it's got to be mentally tough on him. But I don't know. Physically, he can do it. I'm hoping that he wants to continue to do it. I don't have an answer yet. I'm sure the CBA has given him extra time to figure out if he wants to do it. I'm always telling him, please, God, just give me one more. But I've said that for the last 2. So eventually it's going to be no. But we're still very hopeful. But back to your original question, those 3 guys we think are going to be the future of Bandit lacrosse. We just hope that the current of Buffalo lacrosse gives us another 2 or 3 years.
The greatest goalie to ever play. Sorry, Dallas. I know how upset he gets when I call Matt Vince the greatest. Like I don't even know if Dallas is in my top.
He'd be in my top 5, Jumbo. And I've said this to you 100 times. I used to think Bobby Watson was the best goaltender I had ever seen.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to the bigger the game, the better he played. But my God, Matt Vince, just from what I've seen over these, it's 5 years, 7 if you add COVID.
I'll give him top 5. I'll give him top 5.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like,
honestly,
that might
knock you out. That might knock you out.
That's okay. And I'm sure Dallas and Marty would be fine with that. But Matt Vince, there's a peer for him. I used to think Bobby Watson, and then I put Matt on that peer. Yeah. Now, again, no disrespect meant to Whip, but Matt's on a peer all by himself. I've never seen a guy take over games the way he does.
And the next peer is not even visible as far as I'm concerned.
Well, see, Whip won 6 titles, man. So it's tough to take stuff away from Whip. I wouldn't say it's not visible. I would say there's a separation between the two. But Matt's a freak. Like, the bigger the game, the better he plays.
How
physically.
How does he stay? Like, I was talking with Eric, and I just after the Minto, man, I was like, how are you not 4,000 pounds with old JoJo's baking prowess over there? Like, do those goodies make it into the Bandit room?
Oh yeah, they do. And you don't even get the good stuff. You don't get the pierogies and the cabbage rolls.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
She's JoJo's unbelievable. But she's taught those guys. Well, I'm gonna say those guys. I'll say Eric. She's taught Eric how to cook. So when I went in for my surgery, I got a little grab bag of cookies, and I got pierogies, and I got sausage rolls or whatever, cabbage rolls. So
Yeah.
it was fun, but yeah. But again, just the last thing on Matt, he's a freak that somehow gets better and gets in better shape every time I see him, and it's like I say, it's one of those things where I know he can do it. It's going to be whether or not he wants to, because it becomes very, very taxing when you're the greatest, and the only time that you're being compared to is you're being compared to the greatest, right? And that's what he's got to face every Saturday night. It's like, okay, well, that's Matt Vince, and he's being compared to Matt Vince. So let's hope I got my fingers crossed that he comes back and he gives us, I'll say, one more run at this thing, because I think if he does, we might be able to do something pretty special.
Chugger, I'm going to jump into the conversation now after you and Jake have gone on your goalie tier tangent rabbit hole. I'm going to stick with Vino on this question for you there, Steve. When Matt does decide to hang it up and call it a career, have the conversations begun with you on him coming back in a coaching capacity, helping out goalies, or joining the bench or Bandits front office? Have those conversations started to begin a little bit?
They have, without a doubt, Lucas. Matt being a teacher, Matt being a student of the game, Matt sees the game incredibly well. He's got a say in what we do and how we play our defense. So yes, he'll be joining the staff in some capacity. Anthony Cosmo does a tremendous job with our goaltenders. So I don't know if it would be goaltenders per se right off the cuff. Although, when you're sitting with Cos and you're sitting with Vino, it'd be two good guys that the goalies can ask questions to. But without a doubt, Matt will be joining the staff.
You just don't want to give up that second paycheck and move back up into the ivory tower there, Chugger. Hey, like Cos could easily slide to D coordinator or something, take that kind of role over. You could just move back up to the press box, Vino on as goalie coach. Pretty seamless transition, if you ask me.
Listen, Buffalo pays their players incredibly, incredibly well. There's no second paycheck, dude. When I decided to jump on the bench, it wasn't Lockwood like opening the coffers to give me so much more. It's basically, do you want to do this or you do not want to do this? So
yeah.
I enjoy it. You and I have talked about this in the past. I never thought I would. I thought I would always want to be a GM and just stay there. But just being down on the bench, you're just so close to the action.
Nothing better.
There's nothing. No, there's nothing. And when you got Mouse on the bench beside you and he's always down looking at you and he's yelling at the refs and he's yelling at players, that's the kind of stuff you don't get to see when you're 300 feet in the air up in the press box. So I like it. But yeah, back just last thing on Lucas's question before you rudely interrupted there, Jumbo. Matt will be joining the staff at some point, Lucas. I just hope it's not for a little while yet. Speaking
of the greatest, Mr. Tom Borelli Award winner himself, and one John Gertz. Tell me Gertz is back for another season.
Gertz is probably going to outlast all of us. There's no doubt. No, it was about time that Gertzy won the award. It's been so well deserving for many years. But like I tell you, man, Gertz and Swenny are the Bandits, right? Like, yeah, you're going to mention Darius and Rich and JT, and I would put Gertzy and Swenny right up there because Gertz is the voice of the Bandits, on TV and on radio, and Swenny's the voice of the Bandits inside the KeyBank Center. So it was phenomenal that Gertz won that. I think he was taken aback. Believe it or not, he was taken aback. He was pretty emotional about it. And he's even more emotional because him and Tom go way back. He knew Tom, so it meant a lot for him. But yeah, it was a special moment when I knew that the award had been told to him because I knew a little bit in advance. And when I could reach out to him, it was pretty special to be able to reach out to him and congratulate him on winning that.
I gotta ask you, Chugger, are you disappointed a little bit that you're not going to be seeing the Toronto Rock in Buffalo this season?
Only one time.
Yeah, honestly, Lucas, yes, I am because for as much as you don't want to play a great team like Toronto twice, the rivalry and the intensity that Toronto and Buffalo get, like, to me, when you think of the National Lacrosse League, you think Toronto versus Buffalo. That's just the way I am. So not being able to play them twice, is a quirk, I guess, in the schedule. Just the rivalry we have had with them, the intense hatred, I guess, that you could say that both teams have developed without each other. It's like the Leafs and the Canadians only playing once a year. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, and the Red Sox and the Yankees. Like, to me, in the National Lacrosse League, the greatest rivalry is Buffalo versus Toronto. So I remember Jumbo back, I think 3 or 4 years ago, we talked on this podcast that we played them 3 times a year, and then we played them usually 2 or 3 times in the playoffs. So out of a 23 or 24 game season, we played them 6 times. Now only to get them once is disappointing. It is what it is. We'll roll with it, and hopefully we get to see them in the playoffs, because it's great whether you play in Hamilton or whether we play in Buffalo. Both fans travel well. The atmosphere is tremendous, and the games are always good. Whether we're in first and they're in last, or we're in last and they're in first, the games are always great. So yeah, it's definitely disappointing.
Anything else on the schedule jump out to you? You got Vancouver twice. You're coming to Vancouver. Look forward to that. Tucker Out Lymphoma Night, I would imagine, will be January the 3rd against Las Vegas. Anything else kind of pop off the page at you when you saw the schedule roll out?
Well, I don't want to get anybody in trouble here, but if you looked at who we played twice, that'd be the second, third, fourth, and the second place team, the third place team, the fourth place team, and the fifth place team. We all play twice.
Well, that's the way it should work when you're the best team in the league, Chugger.
I don't think anybody else has a schedule close to that, but it is what it is, man. We'll play who they put in front of us. Every team in this league's good. There's no doubt about it. Every team in this league's good. It's just, it's tough when you're staring down the barrel of the second, third, fourth, and fifth ranked teams that we have to play twice.
That's how the National Football League does it, man. You're the champs. You got the hardest schedule the following year. That's the way it works.
Every year we have the hardest schedule, but it didn't matter if we were winning championships or not. We always seem to have the hardest schedule. But again, it's easy.
You and 13 other GMs.
It's easy when you're we're lucky. We have a lot of availability in our building, so it's easy to schedule things with us, I guess you could say, because we have so much availability. But listen, man, I'm not crying. We'll play who we play, and like I said, every team is very good. So it is what it is. My concern is not so much of who we're playing or how many times. It's going to be who's going to be on my team before we worry about who we're playing.
Well,
if we get everybody back, I like our chances, and we'll be a tough out for anybody on any Saturday night. But I don't know who's.
Well, you're the first guy. Right, you're the first guy we've had a chance to kind of talk to about this situation, Steve. And although you cannot put pen to paper, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you have been allowed to have conversations with said unrestricted free agents. And obviously things can change at a moment's notice. Maybe somebody shows up, like a knight in shining armor and comes up with some deal that you just can't match or whatever the case is. But I would imagine you've had some conversations with the guys that you want to get under contract, and everything has verbally been agreed on, and it'll just be a matter of putting pen to paper once that time comes.
No, not at all. Honestly, Jumbo, I talked to all of our guys? Yeah, I haven't talked to another UFA that wasn't on our team last year, just because I'm trying to defend home base, right? Like, I'm just trying to keep what we have. And depending on what the parameters of the new CBA will be, that will dictate what I'm allowed or not allowed to do. I've thrown different numbers at guys, but again, through the grapevine, have I heard that some of those guys have received different offers financially, potentially? So it's going to be what I'm allowed to do, when I'm allowed to do it, and how much do these guys want to stay in Buffalo. Those will be the three factors. I do know that our organization has been incredibly generous to not only me, and then I'm able to pass that down to the players. So whatever we're allowed to spend, we will spend. It's going to be, we've had the luxury of having a really good team for a long time, and all these guys deserve a lot of money in lacrosse parameters. They deserve what they're going to ask for, and it's going to be whether or not I'm able to deliver. So I'm excited. I'm hopeful that most of those, because every guy I've talked to wants to come back to Buffalo. So it's not a fact that they don't want to be here. They want to come back. It's going to be financially, are we going to be able to wriggle things in that will work under the new CBA and keep these guys happy? That's my hope. Matt's a driving factor, that if we get Matt back, it's funny how when we get Matt back, an extra couple grand here or there doesn't seem to matter as much. So let's try and get that. If we get Matt back, I think everything else will roll into place. If Matt doesn't come back, then we're still going to try and bring everybody else back and see what we can do. It's going to be whether or not we're able to do that.
I got a couple questions. One being, are you allowed to spend more than you're allowed to spend and pay some sort of punitive penalty for spending said more than what you're allowed to spend? Like, is that something that maybe Buffalo or maybe other teams are allowed to do? Or Is it just a hard cap and you can't go over it no matter what? And then the final question would be, like, how long do you think of a window you need to get said free agents under contract and get a season rolling? Like, what kind of runway do you need as far as maybe a week-long training camp, but a free agent signing window as well? Like, where does that shake out in your eyes?
Yeah, that's a lot of questions, Jumbo.
I know, but we got to get going here because we got John Arlotta coming up here. So
well, John, you know what? And I'm glad you said that. The first two questions are something to bring up to John, because John sits on the Labor Relations Committee. Currently, we have a system where it's a luxury tax system where, there's a number, and if you exceed that number, then you pay a luxury tax and stuff like that. I've heard rumblings that that's a possibility. I've also heard rumblings that a cap is a possibility, that you're going to be able to spend to a certain number and not $1 more. So John's a perfect person to ask. He sits on the Labor Relations Committee.
Should I bring him on right now?
Well, I don't know if you want to put John on the spot,
okay.
But those are the two avenues. I even forget how long you're going to take. Well, we're getting down to the tough part right now when it comes to visas, because all of our guys need P1s to be able to work in the United States. So, right. You're looking at that as a 4 to 6 week process, probably more on the 6 week end. So we're getting close here to where we got to get going. Once the CBA is signed, I think I probably need a week maybe to get pen to paper with all my guys. But I don't know how close they are, how not close they are. But I do know you're staring down the barrel of 6 weeks before, we can get guys into the United States, into training camp and stuff like that. So we're getting to the nitty gritty here. Yeah. So again, and I don't know how much John can or will divulge with you, but yeah, I don't know if it's going to be luxury tax. I don't know if it's going to be hard cap, but that is what we're dealing with and moving forward.
All right. Well, we're going to talk.
And listen, I don't mean to put John on the spot, but John is a perfect guy to talk to because he sits on those committees. So
well, he's watering up the pipes right now. He's going to let us know.
I know he's going to be mad at me for passing the buck, and maybe he'll pass the buck to Dalek. Maybe you should have had Dalek on today. He might have been able to tell you, but
he'll be coming on in the near future.
Hey, Steve, loose lips sink ships.
Yeah.
There you go. I tried to pass it to John, and now John's passing it on to somebody else. Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that.
Steve, thanks for your time. Best of luck with the upcoming season, and I'm sure we will be talking soon. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right, there you go. There he is, general manager, defensive coordinator, 3-time back-to-back champion with the Buffalo Bandits, Steve Dietrich, Hall of Famer. We'll take a break. You know who's coming up next here. We'll take a quick halftime here, and on the other side, it's the owner and general manager of the Georgia Swarm. John Arlotta joins us next here on Lacrosse Classified on the Lacrosse Culture Daily Podcast Network.
Associated Labels and Packaging, a fun family company that offers premium quality labels and packaging with unparalleled service. With 40 years of experience, an extensive product catalog, and an ever-growing fleet of equipment, Associated Labels and Packaging is the perfect fit to take your labels and packaging to the next level.
This is Jimmy Quinlan, head coach of the Saskatchewan Rush, and you're listening to the Lax Class.
Welcome back to Lax Class. Halftime is over. We are into the third quarter of action, and it's brought to you by Associated Labels and Packaging, who have been with us since day number one here on the podcast. Over 6 years, Associated Labels and Packaging has been with us. They are a fun, family-owned company that offers premium quality labels and packaging with unparalleled service. Over 45 years, probably reaching close to 50 now. An extensive product catalog, an ever-growing fleet of equipment. Associated Labels and Packaging is the perfect fit to take your labels and packaging to the next level at associatedlp.com is where you want to go if you want to do that. This man's always taking his team to the next level. It is the owner and general manager of the Georgia Swarm. It's John Arlotta. And John, welcome back to Lax Class. It's probably been close to a year since we've done this. This seems to be our annual chat to kind of kick off the season. This one may be a little bit different than others in years past, as we do not have a current CBA to kind of discuss. We haven't had free agency yet. So a little bit of a different conversation, I would say. But first and foremost, it's great to see you. And how are things with you and Bobby and the family down there in South Carolina?
Oh, thanks, Jake. Good to see you and meet your new co-host as well. And congratulations, 6 years with your sponsor. That's fantastic. Time flies, doesn't it?
It's unreal.
Yeah. It's things are good. It's been hot in South Carolina, so
Okay.
I actually went to north of Toronto for a week to get out of the heat. So it was
Is
great.
that right? Where'd you go? That's kind of where Lucas is hanging out right now. So where
Oh,
most
okay. Yeah, Muskoka Lakes area. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
It was awesome up there.
Speaking of awesome, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, I believe, a pretty big football game coming up this weekend. Arkansas, did I see on the schedule coming up this weekend?
You are right. I am headed there on Saturday. Can't miss a game at an SEC school for sure.
How are they looking? They got shot?
Well, yes. However, we were 0-2. We won last weekend, so we're 1-2 now. We have to dig ourselves out of a hole. But I really like the team, the character, the kids on the team. Our coach is awesome. I'm excited. I'm always excited about Notre Dame football and lacrosse.
Yeah, well, the lacrosse team is taking care of business the last couple of years as well. Let's talk about your team, John Arlotta, and the Georgia Swarm. As per usual, you had a couple of picks in that first round, and you go out and take Ben Trumbull and Nolan Byrne. Maybe you can start there, John, and just tell me why you selected the right-hander in Trumbull and the lefty in Byrne.
Yeah, well, Ben Trumbull, obviously a really talented player, great size, right-handed defensive player that is going to transition for sure, and it can take some face-offs. And so,
Team Canada, right? I believe the U19 face-off man for Team Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes. So really, a great pick for us. We are pretty heavy on the left side defensively, so getting a right-handed guy with that sort of skill set was really exciting for us. And then Byrne, I mean, he just reminds me, watching him, of another Byrne so much, and he even wears the same number. And for me, really think that kid has a great future. So excited to bring him in. Even though we have a lot of left-handed offensive players, there's going to be a lot of competition in camp, but competition is good.
Well, if it makes you feel even better, I believe he led the North American Invitational LAXNAI this past weekend in goal score as well.
I was not aware of that. Thank you for sharing that. But I did talk to Brett Dobson. They were teammates, and Brett certainly was excited about him.
Well, we talked about your first two draft picks in round one, John, but I got to ask you about number 3 in Jeremy Phoenix Lefebvre. That was, I wouldn't say, off the board type thing, but some people have had him going in round 1, round 2, and even later, but you took him at 16th overall. What did you like out of him from the Quebec native?
Well, first of all, he takes faceoffs. I was excited about that, but he's a really gritty player. And there was a situation in summer I was watching on streaming. The game was Six Nations, and he bumped Shane Jackson pretty hard. And it ended up with a little fight at, I guess, the next faceoff. He had to leave the game. But we got a text from Shane right away saying, "I love that kid." Which is just a great story, isn't it? Just a great story.
Mercyhurst guy as well. And Lucas, for you, I mean, I know this is your first conversation with John, but if you're not familiar with John's drafting history, sometimes John does take a bit of a flyer from time to time, and sometimes they've worked out very well, and sometimes maybe not so much. But John, you've always kind of beat to your own drum when it comes to the NLL entry draft, haven't you?
I don't know if I would put it that way, Jake, as much as I say this to people all the time. If we didn't have general managers that built their teams in different ways, it wouldn't be very interesting, exciting, and you probably couldn't do many trades, right? So I look at it. I don't look at anybody's draft and say, "Oh, what's wrong with that guy?" or "Why did they do that?" Because we build our teams the way we think is best for our team. And I've always, taken the approach of what's best for the Georgia Swarm with our next pick. And it doesn't matter what other people think. What matters is what I think and our coaches think and even our players think is the best thing for the Georgia Swarm. And it might be different for some other team.
No, for sure. But I find that interesting. And that has been for every pick in every year that you've made it. What is best for the Georgia Swarm with that particular pick?
Exactly.
Something that I've always been a little curious about, John, and again, this is something that's been of my own personal interest. It's kind of a two-part question. When did the Swarm go away from the yellow uniforms? And have you thought about bringing them back?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, welcome to the podcast. That's a great question. So, when did we go away? It was a couple of years ago. Really, it was more around, we just wanted to do something a little bit different and get back to more of a traditional looking uniform. However, the second part of your question is, we're hoping and planning to actually have a night where we wear that uniform this year because it's our 10th anniversary in Georgia.
Wow.
And so we thought, why not bring that jersey back? We won the championship in it in 2017. And I think it'd be a great thing for our players and our fans to see that uniform again.
I can't believe it's been 10 years since the move from Minnesota down to Georgia. What's the move been like, obviously? Well, you just said it's been 10 years, but how has the growth of box lacrosse been in Georgia over the past decade since you've moved the franchise down there? What's been the growth like?
Well, the growth in Georgia for lacrosse has been terrific. I was just at Notre Dame a couple of weekends ago, and they had all their lacrosse recruits in, and I was talking to a young man from Atlanta. And he ended up committing to Notre Dame. So it's a great example of how lacrosse has grown all across the country, but specifically in Atlanta, because 10 years ago, I don't know that we would have had a recruit that I would look at or the coaches would look at and say, okay, that's a Division I Notre Dame level recruit. We have them now. Now, box lacrosse, not growing as quickly. Part of the issue is we don't have a lot of places to play box lacrosse in Georgia. However, 2 years ago, we bought out one of the box lacrosse leagues that had been around for a long time. So for the last 2 years, we've been building it with Swarm players and coaches. And I think what's going to happen is what I've seen happen. When we were in Minnesota, we had 500 kids playing box lacrosse. But the reason is, we had all kinds of rinks, in March, all the ice would be taken off and we'd play box lacrosse all over St. Paul and Minneapolis. We don't have that in Atlanta. So we think we can get back there. We think we can get back to 500 kids playing. And we're on our way now that we own our own league and we've got 3 different places to play that we finally scoped out. But it's been something that's held box lacrosse back in Atlanta, and it's logical. Other places in the country have the same problem. Minnesota just happens to be the state of hockey.
Oh,
and
man,
so,
they're everywhere, those little tiny rinks. John?
They really are. It reminds me, Jake, of time you and I spent together when you were taking me around Vancouver and Victoria, and every place we went to, they had, rinks, right? And the rinks in the summer are playing box lacrosse. So it reminded me of that very much so. We just don't have that in Atlanta yet.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've seen a lot of kind of people posting up, where's the next city that the National Lacrosse League should go? And Minnesota always seems to kind of be back at the top of the list. You look at the attendance numbers of teams that have been in cities that are no longer in cities, and Minnesota's attendance numbers were always some of the best, and I think would still be some of the best if they ever decide to go back there. Another spot that had some success was Edmonton, and it sounds like the NLL Unbox game this year will be there. And I believe under the Oilers Entertainment Group at where the Edmonton Oilers play their National Hockey League games, which is an exciting proposition. I've also heard whispers, John, that this is going to involve the Calgary Roughnecks and potentially the Georgia Swarm. So I don't know how much you can share with us here on the podcast, if at all, or am I just talking out of my rear end here? It sounds to me like Roughnecks and Swarm in Edmonton for the Unbox game this year.
Well, look, I can't confirm anything, Jake, but I can give you a little feedback on my personal feelings about doing something like that. The Unboxed game that they did in Montreal was a big success. I believe that other places that are like Montreal, Edmonton, and so on are great opportunities for the league. It's hard to bring all this together because you have your own schedule. In our case, we have
You got
9
to give up a home date. You got to give up a home date, essentially, right?
Yeah. And we have 9 dates that we have to get from our arena for sure. And then in this case, we have our 9 dates for home. However, one of those dates has been left blank in the hopes that we can put together what you're talking about in Edmonton. And boy, it would be wonderful if that was with Calgary, because that would make the Georgia Swarm the home team in Edmonton.
There you go.
From what I understand. So I
few
think
Roughneck fans will probably make the trip, I'm sure, as well.
Exactly. That's the point. But I feel like this would be great, not just for the league. I think it'd be great for our players to go and play in that arena if we can get it to work. We're still keeping a date in Georgia, although it may not be on the schedule. It's held for us if this doesn't come together. But it's great for the growth of our league if we can pull this off. So I'm very supportive of it. I hope it will happen, and I'm doing everything I can to make it happen, including giving up that home date if that's what it ends up requiring.
As long as it's not on the ring drop night, then I think we'll be okay. As we speak with John Arlotta, and listen, we just had Steve Dietrich on, and he alluded to the fact, John, that you are on the labor relations board for the Board of Governors of the National Lacrosse League. Of course, we're all kind of sitting on pins and needles and legs and fingers and everything else crossed, hoping that a CBA gets done here in the very near future. Like, we're 2 months out from what should be the opening game of the season, and that's not including training camp and a free agency signing period and a lot of other things that visas have to be put in place, and all the rest of these things kind of need to be taken care of, and the runway is, you can see the end of it here. So we're starting to run out of time. I know you said loose lips sink ships. Do you have any kind of an update or something you can let the listeners or the fans know that things are moving in the right direction, or do we have a date in mind? Anything that you can give us here on the podcast?
Well, I do think things are moving in the right direction, and I really want that first game to occur because we're going to Buffalo to play there, my hometown, over Thanksgiving. I would love to have Thanksgiving with my family up there. However, a lot, as you say, Jake, does have to happen here. We've got to come to an agreement. We've got to get visas. We've got to come to an agreement in time to get visas, still do training camp, and so on. So I know that a lot of people are working hard on this, including myself, but I'm only one individual. And the main discussions are going on between Brett Frood and the Players Union. I'm not involved directly in those discussions. I'm only involved on the committee that has laid out what needs to be our objectives and is listening to what the players think need to be their objectives. And the reason I say that I think there's progress that's been made is that I do believe that there's a good understanding on both sides of the major needs. And I think that's really critical, the word needs, the major needs of each side. And I believe there's good agreement on that. Okay. On the other side of the coin, there's a lot of details to get to those needs. and make sure that the needs are met in whatever the agreement is that we come to.
I think I don't have anything else to ask Mr. Arlotta here today, Jumbo.
Yeah, I
I've
mean, that's probably a
asked
good
everything
spot
that
to,
I need
leave it on.
and
That's probably a good
it
spot
is.
to leave it on right there, John.
You don't want to ask me about any of our other draft picks, huh, Lucas?
Well, I mean,
hey, we got a steal in there too, Lucas.
Let's okay. I mean, I got more than enough time to talk draft picks with you, John Arlotta. So let's where are we at here? I can't remember the last guy we talked about.
Are we going
Jeremy
to Aiden
Phoenix.
McDonnell? Are we going to Jack Travosos? Or are we going all the way to Coquitlam boy, John and Keen Moon? Where do you want to start?
Well, he's an Alberta boy, but I had a close view of this Keen Moon all summer, last couple of summers, in fact, John. Righty, lanky, shifty, pretty above average outside shot, sees the floor pretty well. I'm liking this Keen Moon. I think he might be a little diamond in the rough for you.
Well, that's what I believe too, Jake. That's what I was referring to. I was very surprised to see him in the third round. And it did not take me long to put my selection in for Keen Moon because I was watching him as well and listening to you, I might add, the streaming services. Okay. No, I mean, also the ones that Lucas mentioned are really going to be good players for us, and we're really excited about them. It's just that I felt like Kean would go a lot sooner than the third round. So, a gem or whatever you want to call it, I believe he's got that capability. We'll see.
Yeah, you just never know until you get him into camp and you surround him with other elite athletes and just kind of see how he fits in with your mix, right? Some guys will fit in with the mix better than others, and some guys won't. With that being said, John, I want to ask, probably should ask you this. I'm assuming Eddie, Sean, and Andy are all back creppy as well with the coaching staff?
Yep, all four of them. Excited about that. We've got really great continuity. When I was up in Canada this summer, we all got together and did a lot of planning and talking about the next season. So I feel really good about that staff. They're awesome, and I'm excited not just for the staff, but keep in mind we had a couple of players that we drafted the year before that are coming in this year. Michael Grace being one of them, Alex being another. So we're excited about this season.
How about Torn? Is he healthy? He took another summer off here, and he came in and I thought was like a pretty impact guy in the limited time that he got. Is he ready to go for the season?
Not just pretty impact. He was significant impact.
Yeah,
he was playing really well for us, and an injury that he had in college crept up on him again. Yeah. And so he just needs some more time to get healthy. Probably won't be in the lineup at the beginning of the year, but we'll have him back during the course of the year, which we'll be really excited about because our offense was, really starting to percolate when he was in the lineup.
Yeah, it really was. I'm just scanning here to see if Georgia comes to Vancouver this year, but no, Vancouver's going to Georgia this year, so I don't even maybe I'll see you in Las Vegas, John. You ever going to make the trip to Las Vegas? Maybe.
I'm not a Las Vegas guy.
I know you're not.
I'm not a Las Vegas guy.
Well, John, that's good news for you because they're not in Vegas. They're in Henderson. So you're good on that front.
Hey, I don't get too close to Las Vegas either.
That's right. That's a smart play. Smart play there, John. Always a pleasure, my friend, and I always appreciate you making some time here on Lax Class. I know our listeners do as well, and look forward to crossing paths with you in person, wherever that may be in the coming months here when we get going for National Lacrosse League action.
Great. Lucas, nice to meet you. Jake, great to see you. We've got a long history, which I've always really enjoyed, so thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Our pleasure. And be well. Say hi to Bobby.
Will do.
Okay, there you go. There he is, owner, general manager of the Georgia Swarm, and John Arlotta. I know that was your first conversation with him, Lucas, and a very thoughtful, well-spoken family man, core values, former military man himself, a self-made millionaire as well, Lucas. Just kind of worked from put himself through college and university and just made a life for himself. And what a life it's been for John Arlotta, and for everything that he has done for this league and for Notre Dame lacrosse in particular. Like, the stadium at Notre Dame is named after him. It's Arlotta Stadium there in Notre Dame. And just incredible man that, I was really blessed to be able to spend some time with early on in my broadcast career when they were with Minnesota. And we've stayed pretty close ever since. I always tell people this, and I'll just say it again now. Like, whenever I'm going through something where I feel a little bit lost, or I'm upset, or I'm angry about something and I need some wisdom, I need some advice, that's the man I usually go turn to.
I can see why. He's a down-to-earth, respectful, and clearly a lover of college football. So, like you said, my first time meeting the man, amazing, great first conversation that I had with him today in my lifetime, and hopefully there's many more down the road.
There you go. All right, let's kick it to the fourth and final quarter. Lax Class Lock of the Week, and we wrap things up here on Lax Class 357. We're back with the Lock of the Week after this.
Hey, this is Landon Miller. You're listening to Lax Class, your go-to source for all things NLL and box lacrosse.
Welcome back to Lax Class. We are into the fourth and final quarter here on Lax Class 357. And fourth quarter this week, it's brought to you by Edge Dynamics. Of course, Edge Dynamics, they're passionate about supporting communities, driving growth, based out of Alberta, partnering with nonprofits and small businesses to deliver sharp marketing strategies that make an impact. They understand the challenges of limited resources and are there to help you succeed, whether it's growing the fastest game on 2 feet or strengthening your organization. They're with you every step of the way. Visit edgedynamics.ca and sharpen your brand on a global level. Visit their social media as well at Edge Dynamics Digital. And what else can I tell you about Edge Dynamics? They just don't market. They translate your mission into momentum. Canadian marketing means every brand has a story, but not every story is heard. That's where Edge Dynamics comes in. Their mission is to sharpen your edge by crafting marketing strategies that resonate, engage, and deliver results that matter. It's right off the website. You can see it for yourself at edgedynamics.ca. Fourth quarter is also the time I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, review, and share the podcast. Then give us a follow on social media as well. We got to get those X follows up here a little bit. We got the new account. We're building the following up slowly here. But if you're out there on X, give the show a follow at Lax Class Podcast. Instagram at Lacrosse Classified. Email, Facebook. It's all there for you. Give us a follow, subscribe, share, review. We thank you for doing that. And now it's time for the Lax Class Lock of the Week.
Lock of the Week. Hey, let's lock and load it! Woo! Yeah!
I am going to be a very rich dude.
Ooh, it's a big lock, all right.
Lax Class Lock of the Week is brought to you by Coolbet. Like I said, one word, Coolbet. Coolbet.com is where you want to go. You want to sign yourself up for an account, and before you put any money in that account, put in the bonus code LAXClass. Also, one word, Lax Class. And then Coolbet will match your first-time deposit up to $200. So if you put in the full $200, they're just going to give you $200 free dollars of gambling money. Not lying about that. It's true. I don't know why you wouldn't take advantage of this. I really do not know why. Somebody would not just want $200 free dollars. Then you can hit the exclusives tab and you will find the exclusive parlay courtesy of Coolbet for Lacrosse Classified. And once again, it's the tricky time of year. And the good thing about the National Football League is that they post up the odds for the games that come up on Sunday. No other sport or league does that, really. It's always kind of day by day by day. So you can't kind of piece something together in the future like you can with the National Football League. I suppose college football probably does it too. But we got 2 Monday night games this week, so we're just going to kick back and wait all the way until Monday. Lots of time to get down on this, but don't forget. 2 awful games, I will say, here for the 2 Monday nighters this week, but here we are. Jets playing the Dolphins, AFC East matchup. Dolphins at home, a 3-point favorite. We're going to drop it down to 2.5. So we get it if they win by a field goal, and we are going to go under. We're going to bump this number up. It's sitting at 45 right now. We're going to kick this all the way up to 47.5 and then take the under between the Jets and the Dolphins. I think both those offenses kind of stink. So hopefully an under there. Broncos hosting the Bengals. Broncos looking okay. Bengals, they don't have their starting quarterback. They got their doors blown off them last week. Broncos are at home here. I don't want to hear it from Dowick either if I take the Bengals to cover in this game. So let's go Broncos. Go Knicks and the boys here. We're going to drop it down to 6.5 point spread here. And we're going over of 42.5. And we'll see. I think this thing should probably come in right around where last week's came in, Lucas, which did not go particularly well. I think more so for me than maybe for you. But we're going to try again this week with this week's Lax Class Lock of the Week. Dolphins and under, Broncos and over. Let's lock it in.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be something else, I'll tell you. Tua can only play in warm weather, so thank goodness Miami is in Miami and not in New York. Otherwise, that would be a disaster. But those Broncos coming off back-to-back walk-off losses, especially this past week against the Chargers, yikes. So they'll be looking to get back in the winning column, especially because Cincinnati does not have Joe Burrow. So Sean Payton and the Broncos will be looking to get a win in the Mile High City, that's for sure.
Listen, not to get off too far here on a football tangent, Lucas, but I was kicking back on Sunday just counting the money before it even happened. And if you saw this might be an all-time bad beat. Like, I had the Rams to cover 3.5 points over the Philadelphia Eagles. If people saw this, they know where I'm going with this. They were up 26-7 in the game for one, but it came down to the Rams kicking a field goal down a single point with no time left on the clock. So they miss the field goal, they cover. They make the field goal, they cover. The field goal gets blocked and touched, game over, they cover. Any other scenario than what actually happened, the parlay cashes, but it's blocked, picked up, and ran back by a 350-pound lineman for a meaningless touchdown, and the Eagles backdoor cover and just ripped money right out of my hand. I could not believe my eyes when I saw that happen.
Yeah, that was shitty for me. I had some money riding on that game as well, and I got a ton of buddies that are Eagles fans too, so let's just say that my phone was blowing up. They were just roasting me. Did you see Mackie Jenner live tweeting it going, what the hell is going on?
That's the last thing I need to see after witnessing that. All right, let's, good luck, everybody. Stay cool, bet responsibly, and thanks for listening to this week's program. I want to thank our sponsors, Associated Labels and Packaging, Rycor Construction, Edge Dynamics, the Goalie Factory, and Coolbet Canada for all the support here on the program. To you, the classmate, will be back with episode 358. I might jump to the other end and just kind of bounce around for teams here instead of going in order like I always do. So who knows who's coming up next week? We'll figure that out for Lax Class 358. But now 357 is over. Oh, I almost forgot. Thanks to Steve Dietrich and John Arlotta for coming on the program. For Lucas Archer, I've been Jake Kelly, and for the fastest game on 2 feet and for the creator, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay classified.